Station, New York, 9 a.m. Shadowed the tracks 3 miles westward, large, deep, and ragged. Have just met a farmer who says they are not elephant tracks. Says they are holes where he dug up saplings for shade trees when ground was frozen last winter. Give me orders how to proceed. Darley, detective. Ah, a confederate of the thieves. The thing grows warm, said the inspector. He dictated the following telegram to Darley. Arrest the man and force him to name his pals. Continue to follow the tracks to the Pacific if necessary. Chief Blunt. Next telegram. Coney Point, Pennsylvania, 8:45 a.m. Gas office broken open during night and 3-month unpaid gas bills taken. Have got a clue and am away. Murphy, detective. Heavens, said the inspector. Would he eat gas bills? Through ignorance, yes, but they cannot support life, at least unassisted. Now came this exciting telegram. Ironville, New York, 9:30 a.m. Just arrived. This village in consternation. Elephant passed through here at 5 this morning. Some say he went east, some say west, some north, some south, but all say they did not wait to notice particularly. He killed a horse. Have secured a piece of it for a clue. Killed it with his trunk. From style of blow, I think he struck it left-handed. From position in which horse lies, think elephant traveled northward along line Berkeley Railway. Has 4.5 hours start, but I move on his track at once. Hawes, detective. I uttered exclamations of joy. The inspector was as self-contained as a graven image. He calmly touched his bell. Alaric, send Captain Burns here. Burns appeared. How many men are ready for instant orders? 96, sir. Send them north at once. Let them concentrate along the line of the Berkeley Road north of Ironville. Yes, sir. Let them conduct their movements with the utmost secrecy. As fast as others are at liberty, hold them for orders. Yes, sir. Go. Yes, sir. Presently came another telegram. Sage Corners, New York, 10:30. Just arrived. Elephant passed through here at 8:15. All escaped from the town but a policeman. Apparently Elephant did not strike at policeman, but at the lamp post. Got both. I have secured a portion of the policeman as clue. Stum, detective. So the elephant has turned westward, said the inspector. However, he will not escape, for my men are scattered all over that region. The next telegram said, Glover's, 11:15. Just arrived. Village deserted, except sick and aged. Elephant passed through 3/4 of an hour ago. The anti-temperance mass meeting was in session. He put his trunk in at a window and washed it out with water from his cistern. Some swallowed it, since dead. Several drowned. Detectives Cross and O'Shaughnessy were passing through town, but going south, so missed Elephant. Whole region for many miles around in terror. People flying from their homes. Wherever they turn, they meet Elephant, and many are killed. Brandt, detective. I could have shed tears. This havoc so distressed me. But the inspector only said, You see, we are closing in on him. He feels our presence. He's turned eastward again. Yet further troublous news was in store for us. The telegraph brought this. Hogansport, 12:19. Just arrived. Elephant passed through half an hour ago, creating wildest fright and excitement. Elephant raged around streets. 2 plumbers going by, killed one, other escape. Regret general. O'Flaherty, detective. Now he is right in the midst of my men, said the inspector. Nothing can save him. A succession of telegrams came from detectives who were scattered through New Jersey and Pennsylvania, who were following clues consisting of ravaged barns, factories, and Sunday school libraries, with high hopes amounting to certainties, indeed. The inspector said, I wish I could communicate with them and order them north, but that's impossible. A detective only visits a telegraph office to send his report, then he's off again, and you don't know where to put your hand on him. Now came this dispatch. Bridgeport, Connecticut, 12:15. Barnum offers rate of $4,000 a year for exclusive privilege of using Elephant as traveling advertising medium from now till detectives find him. Wants to paste circus posters on him. Desires immediate answer. Boggs, detective. That is perfectly absurd, I exclaimed. Of course it is, said the inspector. Evidently Mr. Barnum, who thinks he's so sharp, does not know me, but I know him. Then he dictated this answer to the dispatch. Mr. Barnum's offer declined. Make it $7,000 or nothing. Chief Blunt. There. We shall not have to wait long for an answer. Mr. Barnum is not at home. He's in the telegraph office. It's his way when he has business on hand. Inside of 3, done. P.T. Barnum. So interrupted the clicking telegraphic instrument. Before I could make a comment on this extraordinary episode, the following dispatch carried my thoughts into another and very distressing channel. Bolivia, New York, 12:50. Elephant arrived here from the south and passed through toward forest at 11:50, dispersing a funeral on the way and diminishing mourners by 2. Citizens fired some small cannonballs into him and they fled. Detective Burke and I arrived 10 minutes later from the north, but mistook some excavations for footprints and so lost a good deal of time, but at last we struck the right trail and followed it to the woods. Then we got down on our hands and knees and continued to keep a sharp eye on the track, and so shadowed it into the brush. Burke was in advance. Unfortunately, the animal had stopped to rest, and therefore Burke, having his head down, intent upon the track, butted up against the elephant's hind legs before he was aware of his vicinity. Burke instantly arose to his feet, seized the tail, and exclaimed joyfully, "I claim the But he got no further, for a single blow of the huge trunk laid the brave fellow fragments low in death. I fled rearward, and the elephant turned and shadowed me to the edge of the wood, making tremendous speed, and I should inevitably have been lost, but that remains of the funeral providentially intervened again and diverted his attention. I have just learned that nothing of that funeral is now left, but this is no loss, for there is an abundance of material for another. Meantime, the elephant has disappeared again. Mulrooney, Detective." We heard no news except from the diligent and confident detectives scattered about New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Virginia, who were all following fresh and encouraging clues, until shortly after 2 p.m., when this telegram came. Baxter Center, 2:15. Elephant been here, plastered over with circus bills, and broke up a revival, striking down and damaging many who were on the point of entering upon a better life. Citizens penned him up and established a guard. When Detective Brown and I arrived some time after, we entered enclosure and proceeded to identify Elephant by photograph and description. All masks tallied exactly except one, which we could not see, the boil scar under armpit. To make sure, Brown crept under to look, and was immediately brained, that is, head crushed and destroyed, though nothing issued from debris. All fled, so did Elephant, striking right and left with much effect. He escaped, but left bold blood track from cannon wounds. Rediscovery certain. He broke southward through a dense forest. Brent, Detective. That was the last telegram. At nightfall, a fog shut down which was so dense that objects but 3 feet away could not be discerned. This lasted all night. The ferry boats and even the omnibuses had to stop running. Section 3. Next morning the papers were as full of detective theories as before. They had all our tragic facts in detail also, and a great many more which they had received from their telegraphic correspondents. Column after column was occupied a third of its way down, with glaring headlines, which it made my heart sick to read. Their general tone was like this: "White elephant at large. He moves upon his fatal march. Whole villages deserted by their fright-stricken occupants. Pale terror goes before him. Death and devastation follow after. After these, the detectives. Barns destroyed, factories gutted, harvests devoured, public assemblages dispersed, accompanied by scenes of carnage impossible to describe. Theories of 34 of the most distinguished detectives on the forces. Theory of Chief Blunt." "There," said Inspector Blunt, almost betrayed into excitement. "This is magnificent. This is the greatest windfall that any detective organization ever had. The fame of it will travel to the ends of the earth and endure to the end of time, and my name with it." But there was no joy for me. I felt as if I had committed all those red crimes, and that the elephant was only my irresponsible agent. And how the list had grown! In one place he had interfered with an election and killed 5 repeaters. He had followed this act with the destruction of 2 pool fellows named O'Donoghue and McLanigan, who had found a refuge in the home of the oppressed of all lands only the day before, and were in the act of exercising for the first time the noble right of American citizens at the polls, when stricken down by the relentless hand of the scourge of Siam. In another, he had found a crazy sensation preacher preparing his next season's heroic attacks on the dance, the theater, and other things which can't strike back, and had stepped on him. And in still another place he had killed a lightning rod agent. And so the list went on, growing redder and more heartbreaking. 60 persons had been killed and 240 wounded. All the accounts bore just testimony to the activity and devotion of the detectives, and all closed with the remark that 300,000 citizens and 4 detectives saw the dread creature, and 2 of the latter he destroyed. I dreaded to hear the telegraphic instrument begin to click again. By and by the messages began to pour in, but I was happily disappointed in their nature. It was soon apparent that all trace of the elephant was lost.